Hey, I'm Sarah.
And I'm Rory.
And we run Windbreaks.
So guys, I'm here today to kind of, basically I told you before that I'm trying to spruce up my YouTube kind of thing. I'm just kind of here to kind of, learn from others. You're always going to learn from someone, even if you don't like them. Well, I like these people. So we're just here now, so we're just going to see what they're up to, because like I like flowers, and I prefer them outside, but at the same time these guys grow flowers to cut and they dry them and they kind of just put a smile on people's faces. So I'm here to see what they're doing. They've got a new patch in West Dorset and I'm just here to kind of just see what space they've got, basically. So right now we're in the orchard and these guys explain what they're going to do and what their plans are for this space. So where are we now, guys?
So we're in the old orchard of our little plot of land, and we're going to try and get this back up to its former glory. You can see it's all quite overgrown.
I see that.
Some old and shaggy apple trees everywhere. So we've taken down a tree back there that was shading it out, and we have this.
It's a massive tree. Yeah. Look at this wood chip for days.
Gigantic pile of wood chip, which we're going to put to good use.
Lovely.
And the idea really is to restore these apple trees to better health with more light and some pruning.
Makes sense.
Clear away a lot of these scrubby trees.
No offence, trees.
No offence to you, but lots of sycamores that grow like weeds around here.
I hear you.
So they're just shading out a lot of this space, which is covered in ivy all over the floor. So hopefully we're going to lighten it up and then grow our own vegetables in the half over there.
Lovely.
For our own use. It's going to be our veg patch, basically.
Makes sense.
And that greenhouse that's there now is our only greenhouse space right now. So that's staying for the moment.
Nice.
That will move.
Oh really?
In the end.
Okay.
I think we're going to take that out and just use the polytunnel down the bottom.
Okay. That's coming soon, so stay tuned.
So part of what we're going to try and do here is a kind of forest garden thing, using these beautiful big apple trees. Kind of trying to do a guild of planting around them.
Lovely. That
will benefit them, and also hopefully have as many dual purpose plants as we can.
Yeah.
That we can use for the We Grow Colour business as well. There's lots of foliage plants that will be useful.
Lovely name too, by the way. Lovely name. Sorry to interrupt. Lovely name.
Yeah. So this tree is staying, and that big one there.
What made you decide to get rid of some of these trees? Like, what's the reasons for?
Some of them just aren't very tasty apples.
Yeah.
And
tasty apple.
Yeah. I think it's, if you're going to grow a massive apple tree, you have to like eating the apples that it produces.
Makes sense.
And they're a little bit too close together. They're a little bit too big. So the ones that are getting sacrificed are the ones that are the least healthy and least tasty apples. And then we're going to replant our choice with a bit more of a spacing.
I hear you.
Later on.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, makes sense.
We're also going to be maximising the use of the space by planting hedges with, again, a dual purpose. So we'll have, kind of windbreak, privacy, and then we're going to use food, fruit trees, berries, along the edges, and as dividers of the space.
I hear you. Yeah.
So yeah, we're really keen on
utilising. I like your your use of the word guild.
Yeah.
I do like. So obviously we are in the greenhouse. So what are your plans for this little lovely space?
So because we are still in the process of setting up, we wanted to get our spring bulbs in.
Okay.
And we trialled, so we're using this as a trial. So we haven't got hundreds and hundreds. Having said that, I think we actually do have.
We have several hundred.
We have several hundred in here, but we don't have thousands.
I get you.
So we've done no dig bulbs this year. We've never done it before. So we've just laid the bulbs on the earth and then have mulched it heavily.
Okay.
So this side is all tulips from earlies to late varieties. And we've got anemones and ranunculus coming up here, and then we've got a really lovely selection of daffodils, and really unusual, highly scented, brightly coloured, the kind of more ornamental varieties. So we're just trialling this, and then we've got overwintering calendula varieties, wallflowers and achillea. But again, this is the sort of test and trial year, so we're going to just see how this. But I can't wait for all the colour that will be coming up.
So basically, like I'm new to this, new to floristry and stuff like that. So how many flowers will you potentially need? Like, because that was a lot of flowers or plants you just reeled off in such a small space. So you explain more about how many flowers you need and all that kind of stuff.
So when we're planting, we're thinking about the variety, we're thinking about the colour, thinking about the form, and thinking about obviously what's going to be flowering in each season. So trying to think, we're learning all the time, but trying to think about succession. And again, a lot of seedlings can fail, so trying to, when we're sowing seeds, it's we're always growing more than you need, so we're going to have enough. And you can have up to 40 stems in a bouquet, so you do, if you're doing a number of bouquets and you're sending them out, and
40?
Also you're wanting to if we're wanting to do them to dry, which we do as well, so we're wanting colour throughout the winter, then we need to have even more stems that we can cut. So we can fit around 120 plants in the beds that we'll be showing you in a bit.
Okay.
And that's a kind of average spacing, and those can be annuals or perennials.
That's for one bed.
For one bed, yeah.
Wow.
So
one bed. So
one bed,
we're setting out 13 of those.
Wow.
And you put them really tightly together. They support themselves. So you would put them potentially tighter than if you were going to have them in a border. Or whatever.
I hear you. What the advisory, like what they intend to say on the back of like a little label on your plants, didn't they?
Yeah, they put an advisory, and we actually put them slightly closer together.
Okay.
Particularly with dahlias, it's really great to have them quite tight so that they can support each other and get straighter stems.
Makes sense.
So you can, obviously a lot of plants do need staking,
Yeah.
but you're kind of trying to minimise some of that.
Okay.
So again, like with this, we're in new spaces, new beds, new sizes. We kind of were very used to working in Bristol, and now it's all new. But we're basing it on what we've learnt before, and we're excited to be able to expand and just have many more varieties and more colour.
Right, so we've seen the greenhouse, we've seen the orchard, so now we're just walking down the path which kind of is adjacent to their house right now, and we're going to talk about water. She's sunbathed, look. She's having a sunbathe. She's having a sunbathe. So yes, let's talk about water butt, because I've got a few. I need to get some more. I'm thinking of getting some more. So explain this lovely water butt here.
Well, I'd like to get some more as well.
Nice.
Up here, really. So we're at the highest point here of our patch of land, and this is the old barn. So this water butt catches the water off all of this roof here.
Nice.
And it's got an overflow that takes it all the way around the outside down to the front part of the garden.
Nice.
Which is really handy because gravity takes the water for you where you want it to go.
That's what we want.
I'm aiming for quite a lot of water storage up here. It's a big roof and there's space up here. So yeah, that's it really. And also, we don't want the water going down that way because that's the house, and if that gets all soggy, it might
damp. Damp and dank house is not a happy house. Okie doke.
So yeah.
We're sunbathing.
It's lovely.
It is lush. I feel like a crocodile. You got to open your mouth there, look.
I can do that.
So Rory, we have moved away from the water butt and now we're in a quite wooded bit. But not so wooded bit because you've been busy. Yeah. So what's the plan for this section here?
So basically this little patch is kind of really our domestic garden. It's outside the front of our house, but it's all around the boundary. There's loads of hazel, mainly hazel and elder, a bit of elder and things. So the plan is to coppice a lot of this hazel to open out a bit more light for starters, and also to have useful poles and keep the trees healthy as well. They like being coppiced. So I've made a start. There's a massive pile of coppicing bits.
Looks lovely.
There. But yeah, so we've got so many hazel bushes that I'm going to try and do a rotation. You know, I'm going to leave some.
Makes it,
do a sort of 5-year thing maybe. So by the time I get to the end of the 5th year, I'm ready to cut the first.
That's clever. That's very clever. That's take note, people. Take note. So I'm being blinded. I should get my shades out. I'm just going to be frowning. But I'm very happy right now. But the sun's in my face. But basically, we're talking about wind. And you know, as you know, if you're new here, click the top right. You'll see some videos of how windy it can get in UIST. But right now I'm going to speak to these guys because most of their prevailing winds come from the southwest. Yep. So Rory's going to explain. So what's in front of you then, Rory, quickly before we talk about wind?
A blackcurrant bush.
Oh, lovely.
I'm going to move it because I don't want it here, but it's here at the moment.
Okie doke.
Regarding this bit, this is a problem. It's a tangled mess of fallen over trees, unhealthy trees covered in ivy. The problem is that that's southwest, and that's where our prevailing wind comes from.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to work out what to thin out and what to leave of all this stuff here, so that we're still sheltered, but everything has, again, it's all about light. Things have got so overgrown around here that ivy is the predominant thing. Now I love ivy, but I don't want as much ivy around as we've got. So there are decisions to be made. Some of these trees are going to be thinned out, some of them are going to stay, and we're going to end up with a view but also shelter.
Makes sense. So we've just walked away from the wooded area, or the windbreak, so to speak. So now we're right next to their house, and this is the bit that they will see, Sarah and Rory will see from their house. So they got some plans for this. So what are your plans for this area here?
So we're really inspired by visiting Hauser and Worth and the amazing work that Piet Udolf has done.
Lovely.
With his perennial planting and his fields of sort of prairie, echinacea, grasses. And one of the things we're really inspired by is the structure that he creates annually. So throughout the year, there's always something to look at. There's always a habitat. And there's just such beauty and structure. So I think in this area we're thinking about doing our own mini version and sort of planting drifts of grasses and echinacea and a lot of perennials and having colour, but really thinking about kind of texture and sound, and you know, having all this swooshing of the grasses and just something to look at out of the windows that isn't just ivy
and big old trees,
sort of half-dead trees.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Makes sense. So we're here now on the house, and have a look. Your house stops is basically where that pipe is, right?
Yeah.
So what are your plans for this old hedge or this honeysuckle hedge here?
We're back to the making more space idea. This garden has been allowed to really come in.
Yeah.
And we're
I can see that.
Bring it out a bit.
Yeah.
So this honeysuckle is quite far back. Come out 3 meters, and
3 meters. Wow.
We sort of need that 3 meters.
It's like Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah, that's it. So you know, it's a lovely thing. There's all sorts of birds' nests and stuff going on in there.
Yeah.
In a sense.
Yeah.
It's a shame to remove that.
Yeah.
But I
was waiting for that.
Lots of other places for the birds to nest around here. So
exactly.
I don't feel too guilty. I feel slightly guilty, but not too terrible about reclaiming
there's some space,
because we have quite a bit of room here.
Yeah.
But we're trying to maximise what we can do with it. So we need to make the most productive use of what we've got. And that's the kind of permaculture principle, really. Is like really intensively doing things so that the wildlife and everybody can have their own space that you're not interfering with, because you get the most out of the space that you've got.
Yeah.
That's one way that I understand it.
Makes sense.
So anyway, that I'm afraid is going to be cut quite drastically. We're not going to remove it. It's
just needs a haircut.
It needs a big old haircut.
So basically, we've come from the whole. You can see it. Look how big it is. Look how big the honeysuckle is. Behind Sarah there, it's huge. So we've moved from because the reason why we're talking about this whole honeysuckle and getting rid of that kind of, what's the word, evicting some birds. But then on the plus side, look what they're doing over here. Look at this. Look at this lovely thing. Ta-da! So what are we looking at now, Rory? What are we looking at?
This is my favourite thing in the world at the moment, and it's
Sarah's right there.
This brown decaying woody matter. I'm in love with it. Basically, it's a dead hedge, so I've taken prunings from a lot of the hazels and things, the thinner twiggy bits.
Nice.
And I've woven them into this hedge here, where there was an old stone wall. I don't know if you can see up there.
Oh, I see.
I'm going up, slowly dismantling that stone wall, replacing it with this dead hedge, which we're then going to plant a live hedge in front of.
Okay.
So the dead hedge is forming a windbreak.
Okay.
It's forming a habitat for all manner of creatures, including.
So basically, we've just moved just now because the wind was picking up. I don't want you to interview on the camera, so perfect windbreak here. Yeah. But let's talk more about your dead hedge.
Okay. So it's a great habitat. It's also feeding the soil in the decomposing process. And it's a windbreak, and I think it looks really pretty.
I think it's good. It's amazing.
I'm very pleased with it.
Give it a shake. Prove to everyone that this is like a rigid fence, and look at that. Look at the rigidity. That is ingenuity right there.
So we are really excited to be planting a range of foliage that we can use in our cut flower arrangements, but they will take 5 years to mature, so that they will be in a state that we can cut from them.
Okay.
So this again is going to provide great protection and kind of encourage that growth.
Lovely.
So, yeah, we're really excited about putting all of those in, but that will happen next year.
Okie doke. So we've spoken about the dead hedge over here, so now we're talking about, this is where the money maker. Now these are the money making beds. Look at these beds. This is pristine. So explain your ingenuity here.
Okay. Well, these are our new beds. We've made 1 3/4. It's going to be 13.
Oh, lovely.
Down here. This is the working bit of the garden.
Yeah.
Really. So the beds are going to run down there to just above where the cars are. Polytunnel on the other side.
Okie doke.
With more beds above it. So effectively, what we've done here is just laid them out. I worked out the maximum size we could get in the space. We've got all this wood chip, luckily, from some tree work. So we're using that for piles. This is manure, old cow manure here that I've made the beds out of. From down the road, local dairy farmer.
Nice.
Just brings it up in his trailer and dumps it, and then we barrow it in here. So I made this little frame here, cobbled together out of old bits of wood. That gives us the outline of the size, so it's easier to fill it up, squash it down a bit so it all stays put. So and then that comes off and it moves down to the next bed. Yeah. And so on down the hill.
Okay.
And it's great. It's starting to grow weed seeds already.
Already?
Yep.
We're in July. Where is it? July? What are we in? I think it's my birthday.
It's cold July.
It's Jan right now.
Jan.
You can see them. Oh, yeah, you can see them.
Yeah, little tiny ones. So I'm going to get a hoe on those when it's not as frosty as it is now.
I hear you.
It's been the coldest night of the year. -4 last night.
-4. Flipping out.
These beds will have mainly annuals in, again because we're using this as a trial year.
Yeah.
We don't want to put anything too permanent, So we're going to do annuals, and then later on in the year we'll be putting dahlias in. We've done a big dahlia tuber order, so we're excited about that.
Nice.
And then we've also, there's quite a few established perennials, including feverfew, which we use as a herb and as a medicinal herb and as a cut flower and a dry flower. So we've dug all of those up, and we're going to create in front of this polytunnel a kind of nursery bed of perennials until we've worked out exactly where we're going to put stuff. But actually, you know, these things do take time. We're looking to get working parties here, but you know, is us two doing it on our own, really. So we're just trying to, you know, work out what's the most important kind of priorities. So the polytunnel is coming next week, and that is 12 meters by 3 meters. That'll have 3 beds in it. And again, that will really help with our propagation, and we're really excited to get a polytunnel.
Nice. Yeah, you're gonna have a lovely little microclimate in there. I'm jealous.
Maybe a mimosa. Thinking about.
Oh, nice. I've never seen one in a polytunnel, sorry.
But it's cold here.
Yeah.
So who knows?
That would be nice. That's a lovely tree, that. If you're not sure what a mimosa is, look it up. Honestly, it's a lovely tree. Come from Australia. It's Australasian. And yeah, it's got lovely yellow scented flowers around springtime. So Google that. So basically, I've only been in UIST for like a year now, so I'm starting to leave my mark on the place. But how long have you guys been here for? And what's your story behind that?
Okay, so we moved here in September 2021, so a few months we've been here. But I grew up in this house. This is my family home that I grew up in. Yeah. Which we bought off my mum and dad. Okay. Moved to a village down the road. Iron Apper. Yeah, they're there right now in the sun. So I know this place pretty well. Yeah. And it's just really exciting to be able to work with a place that I've known for 40 years. But I've been away from here longer.
Telling your age there. You're telling your age.
Yeah. I lived away from here longer than I lived here now. So that's quite interesting to think about. But
it must be lovely to come back.
Yeah.
Oh, that must be sweet. It's a nice kind of, and you got a kid as well. You got your kids running around. So yeah, it's really sweet.
Yeah. I won't do it in American.
Do an Australian. So that's all right. Good guy. It's fine. We can start again. I'll say it again. She'll say something.
Messing about.
I really want to do it in Australian. Sorry,
the Australian.
I won't.
So what's your most? It's whiny, isn't it? With the knives. So what's your most memorable learning experience in this place?
Mine, I think, is learning not to put hot coals on the compost heap when there's some cardboard on it.
Shit.
Yep. Half an hour later, I wondered where all the smoke was coming from, and had to go and put the fire out in the compost heap. So yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend that. And yourself, Sarah?
I think it is really taking care of your dahlia tubers. So knowing your soil, and if it gets really waterlogged, lift them and make sure they dry properly. We lost loads, a lot rotted off, and we've got a lot to learn with dahlias, but they're now very dry, put to bed, and actually they're under our bed. They're under our bed.
Oh, your literal bed.
Literal bed. We have boxes and boxes.
Slumber party.
Of a slumber party of them under our bed. They don't, they just need to be somewhere that's really dry. Basically.
Yeah, makes sense.
So yeah.
That is dedication right there.
Yeah.
So I've been talking about Olearia. I'm blue in the face about Olearia traversii macrodonta. It's such a lovely shrub, and I thought, why not? Let's bring a piece of UIST down to these guys, because these guys have been lovely to me. They've taken me around. They've wiped my ass. They just showed me they just basically just give me just a nice tour of their place and stuff like that. So this is for you guys. You got some lovely cuttings. I'm expecting them to survive. If they all die, then I'll be having words with you. So make sure you look after them. Olearia traversii, and
beautiful.
We're really excited.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I can't wait to see them.
Can't wait.
So there you have it. There you have it. A lovely trip down to West Dorset to see this lovely couple here doing some floristry stuff I've like never even thought about. I will grow some perennials. I do like my plants. As you know, I'm more the ornamental side than the crop side. So, but it's nice to kind of be inspired by these guys. Hopefully you guys are inspired, and hope you learned something today. So, if you're new here, please consider subscribing. And if you want to see some more videos, click the top right or look in the description and see more videos. And remember, it's not just my agenda, it's yours too. See you soon.